myself, but he did a fabulous job. Most of you probably don't know me. I have no claim to fame. If you took a selfie with me, it wouldn't be anything to brag about. But I'm very much the kind of person that the Sanders campaign is built. And I want to share my story with you because I think it's the only way I can really explain why I support Senator Sanders so strongly. And at times it will get a little bit personal, but it's the best way I know how to do it. So in October of 2008, I found out I was going to be a father. And it was a tough time for me. It was right after the market crashed. I was just laid off. And I was trying to figure out what to do with my life, where I was going to go. So I decided to enroll in college. I was motivated by making a better life for my son. And I knew I was going to have to take out many loans to do this, but I did it anyway. I graduated with a BS in physics. I'm currently $30,000 in debt, school loans, which is a small number compared to many others. I speak to some people earlier today, more than $60,000 in debt. One of the reasons I support Senator Sanders is because of his policy to pay for free public colleges and universities through Wall Street speculation tax. This country is punishing people who want to get an education, for wanting to make a better life to raise a family, for wanting to have a significant impact on the economy. And it doesn't make any sense. And Senator Sanders understands this, and he has the strongest plan to make sure we have an educated workforce, to make sure we stay competitive with other nations. I was fortunate enough to be accepted into graduate school, where I focus my research on renewable energies, because I understand that the threat of climate change is real, and there's no debate among scientists in this field. And I wanted to make an impact where I could help not only everyone on this planet, but also I want to make a habitable place for my son and for any children he may have. Senator Sanders has been a strong advocate for a long time to combat climate change. And he's put forth many initiatives to move away from fossil fuels and into renewable energies. However, this ball will never get rolling until we get the money out of politics. The fossil fuel industry alone spent $2.26 billion since 2009 in lobbying. It's a big number. $330 million in federal campaign contributions. They are a behemoth of a spender. And there is not another candidate out there that is more passionate about getting money out of politics except for Bernie Sanders. And there are other candidates out there that speak about getting the money out of politics. But Bernie Sanders is the only one who will not accept campaign contributions from large corporations. And the only question I would like everyone to ask themselves in this area is if there is a candidate who says the campaign contributions don't affect their decision making, but they still accept the campaign contributions, well, why do you want to get rid of the campaign contributions if it doesn't affect your decision making? It's an important question I think we have to ask ourselves. All I think about that as I move on to that chapter of my life. Approximately 2 months before I graduated with my BS, my son started becoming sick. And we went to a few doctor's appointments, and there were different diagnoses each time, and nothing was working. 2 weeks before I graduated, my son was hospitalized for the first time at Children's Mercy Hospital in Kansas City. And the doctors there diagnosed him with ulcerative colitis, which eventually turned into Crohn's disease. Some of you may have heard of it. The doctors tried everything, including medicines that were not even approved for children. but nothing worked. And, he was in constant pain. All he wanted to do was lay down. And his body used up all of his muscle and fat to try and fight the disease. And at one point, he was just so weak that he couldn't even stand up without some kind of assistance. The disease actually got worse and eventually destroyed his colon so badly that it had to be completely removed. Excuse me. It did not stop. There's no cure for Crohn's disease. My son has struggled for years with all kinds of issues. We've been hospitalized a total of 16 different times, 3 surgeries in less than a 3-year period. We spent more than half a year in that time frame in Children's Mercy Hospital. My son was put on a medicine called Humira. Some of you may have heard of it. It's pretty popular now. It's got all kinds of ads. And it cost $1,500 for a week's supply of Humira for my son. $1,500 per week. One medicine. That's $1,500. It doesn't even cure my son. $1,500 per week. It just makes his life somewhat manageable. I find this outrageous. I hope you do too, and I'm not the only one. Senator Sanders continually speaks out about how pharmaceutical companies keep raising prices in this country on drugs, to the point where now only 1 in 5 Americans can afford to fill the prescriptions. 1 in 5, that's 20%. 20% of our beloved citizens cannot get the medicine they need. That's why I'm a strong advocate for Senator Sanders' single-payer healthcare system. Because of the Humira, when we're in the hospital, we have to be put on a cancer floor. It's the cleanest floor they got, and Humira suppresses the immune system. And at Children's Mercy, on their cancer floor, they have this room called the parent room. And it's a place for parents to go and try and get a break, talk to other parents, try and feel normal for a little bit. I've spoken to so many parents. I've listened to all their struggles, and I've seen so many families destroyed. But it is not the child being sick that destroys the families. It's money. It's money. When your child is sick for a extended period of time, inevitably one parent will quit their job to stay at the hospital full time. Happens every time. Then the bills start coming in. Besides your health premiums, you have deductibles, co-pays, etc. And I have seen families destroyed and torn apart because of money. And we can do better. The single-payer healthcare system is the way to go.
Get right there, Sean.
I know a lot of people really like the Affordable Care Act, and it has done some great things. It really has. But expanding the coverage to 100% is only going to make the insurance companies raise their premiums and everything else all that much more. I hope you consider that as we move forward into the caucuses next week. I've heard a lot of criticisms of Bernie Sanders. A month ago it was he's too idealistic. Currently it's that he's a one-issue candidate, that issue being income inequality. But in my point of view, these are both red herrings. I've not even mentioned income inequality tonight, although it is a very, very important issue. And Senator Sanders speaks about many issues all the time. And as far as Senator Sanders being too idealistic, if you think it's too idealistic to not make people suffer monetarily when they're already suffering so much, then perhaps you're in the wrong political party. Because the Democratic Party that I know is supposed to stand up and fight for those who need it. The poor, the disenfranchised, the sick. You know, there was a town hall meeting recently on CNN, and Senator Sanders was asked about faith, and his answer, I thought, was the best one I ever heard from a politician. And at moments, it was like he was actually even speaking for me. So in closing, I'd like to just give a small quote. When asked about what motivates his belief system, Bernie Sanders said, "What I have believed in my whole life is that we are all in this together. The truth is, when I hurt, the truth is, when you hurt, when your children hurt, at some level, I hurt. I hurt. And when my children hurt, you hurt." End quote. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and I hope you all support Senator Sanders.